Daniel Cormier discussed why the Arman Tsarukyan versus Charles Oliveira fight was canceled. Cormier revealed Arman Tsarukyan told him in Abu Dhabi that Oliveira was his original UFC 331 opponent. Benoit Saint-Denis later took the co-main event slot. The matchup changed after the tragic passing of Oliveira's longtime shootbox teammate Alan Nascimento, Cormier said.
Got a main event and a co-main event yesterday. We were all expecting Arman Tsarukyan. If I'm being honest, guys, Arman Tsarukyan told me in Abu Dhabi it was going to be him and Oliveira. No BMF title. It was going to be him and Oliveira fighting in Los Angeles. And Arman just told me he just wants to continue to fight to essentially make himself undeniable because he wants a title opportunity. Yesterday we got that he's fighting against Mauricio Hufi. That's a dangerous fight with not as much upside because Hufi, while he is good and while he did have that great win at the White House, he doesn't have the name value as Charles Oliveira. Now, it's unfortunate because we would have loved to see him and Oliveira have a rematch. The first fight was tremendous. Armanique actually hit a fan all the way to the octagon. But unfortunately, Charles's teammate passed away. And that's why I believe, at least, that we're not getting that fight. Because, you know, obviously those guys down there, Oliveira and them, their team, they're all so close. So I think that's why
I'm still a very small channel. So if you're enjoying this video, please hit that like and subscribe. It really helps me grow. Let's get back to the news. Mendez praised Usman Nurmagomedov during an interview. He called Nurmagomedov the most talented fighter he has ever worked with. Mendez stated, Usman possesses abilities coaches cannot teach.
Told me about Usman, Usman Nurmagomedov. He told me when I went to Dagestan for the first time, he said, Coach, this one guy kid is my cousin. He's Umar's younger brother. He's going to be something. He goes, at that particular time, Khabib told me about Usman. Then, of course, when I trained with Usman, I went, damn, this kid is exactly that. From a fighter perspective, he's the best fighter athlete I've ever trained. Not from an athlete perspective, because from an athlete perspective, I mean, you got to give it to Herschel Walker. Herschel Walker was the greatest athlete, not the fighter though, greatest athlete. There's a difference, you know that. So Usman's the greatest athlete fighter that I've ever trained. And because he does things that nobody can teach. There's things that kid does I can't teach. I cannot teach him. And I didn't teach him. He did it on his own.
Ali Abdelaziz recently praised Conor McGregor. This came as a surprise, given their extensive public feud. Appearing on the Pound for Pound podcast with Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo, Abdelaziz criticized Ian Machado Garry. He called Ian Machado Garry a Chinese copy of Conor. Abdelaziz also claimed Ian Machado Garry doesn't hunt for finishes. Despite this, Abdelaziz credited McGregor. Ali Abdelaziz said McGregor never ran from a fight, always accepted challenges. He also called McGregor one of the greatest fighters of all time.
He's a Chinese Conor McGregor. He's a Chinese version, knockoff version of Conor McGregor. He's not Conor McGregor. He doesn't fight like Conor McGregor. You like it or not, Conor was a bad dude at one point. He's one of the best fighters ever at one point. Let's be real. This guy, he runs. Conor fight. This dude doesn't even know how to talk. He doesn't know how to talk, honestly. I speak better English than him. And his English is first language. Brother, Ian Garry has lost his balls. And he will lose everything August 15. Mark my word. This dude talking about finishing people. This guy lost 11 fights. He have 9 decisions. Islam lost 11 fights, have 8 finishes. This guy, the only thing he finishes, I'm gonna keep it at that.
Hey, it's a family show, Ali. It's family show.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I want to know what he finishes, Ali.
Of course you do.
Coca-Cola.
No.
Listen, I don't know, man. This guy, listen, they are complete opposites. One guy said the woman should run the world. The wife is the household of the woman. And you got a guy from Dagestan, you don't even see their wives. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And you know what? It's a good point that they're two separate guys.
Coach Javier Mendez believes Islam Makhachev can defeat Ian Machado Garry without wrestling. Many fans think Makhachev's only path to victory against the 6'3" Garry involves takedowns, ground control, and submissions. On the Weighing In podcast, Makhachev's longtime coach explained Islam is now a dangerous striker. He said Makhachev does not need to take the fight to the mat to win.
Remember, I've been with him for 12 years or plus, 12 years plus, you know, so there's a lot of work that's been done with him and I and other coaches, you know, and he's dialed in. He's dialed in as a striker, and people sleep on his striking and think that he has to take Ian down. He doesn't have to take him down. Is it the better choice? Probably, because we know we're the better grappler for sure, but do we have to take him down? I'm saying no, we don't have to take him down. Is it the better option? Probably. But let's see how Ian is able to adapt to what we're going to do.
Matchroom Talent Agency also shared a video of Garry manifesting his future as the UFC welterweight champion.
As much as I respect Islam, as much as I know how good he is and I know how talented he is, I know that I can beat him if I go out there and do what I believe I can do. Oh yeah, the lads want me to show you this. Here. I got this made a while ago, and I feel like this is something me and you would like. So, that is my Cage Warriors world title that I won in July 2019. And above it, when I got that one framed, I made this frame as well.
Love it.
It's an empty frame that says UFC World Champion coming.
Conor McGregor underwent successful surgery. On Wednesday, the former two-division UFC champion updated fans after his procedure. He expressed confidence in his octagon return. McGregor acknowledged Dominic Cruz and Georges St-Pierre, noting both overcame similar injuries to win UFC titles. He aims to return next summer. McGregor, 38, has one fight left on his current UFC contract.
What's up, folks? The Mac is back, baby. My knee is repaired. Surgery was a success, and I'm on the road to recovery. That should tell you all you need to know about my mindset. Straight into surgery, knee repaired, and on the road. Let's go. I want to give a shout out to Dominic Cruz, who returned from multiple ACLs to recapture his bantamweight crown. Georges St-Pierre had multiple ACLs. Don't know whether he returned after his second ACL. However, he's doing backflips and his movement is still stellar. Other notables in other sports, NFL, Tom Brady done it. Aaron Peters done it. These are my motivation here, especially the fighting boys. Yup, Cruz. Yeah. Unstoppable, baby. My mindset is unstoppable, unbreakable. I'm gonna do something about this hair. I'm not sure just what yet. But stay tuned, folks. Yeah, I love you all. Mac Energy is available now on Amazon. Forge Irish Stout if you're having a soldier one. Enjoy yourself out there, folks. Thank you, God. Thank you so much, God.
Brian Battle is set to face Dalton Rasta tonight at PFL Charlotte. As most of you know, the PFL will be merging with Jake Paul's Most Valuable Promotions. Battle says it'd be an honor to welcome Jake into the cage.
One of these Paul brothers, named Jake, great name by the way, he's, you know, talking about an MMA debut, kind of floating around 185. Am I being crazy, or could this be possible, Brian?
I mean, you know, he wants like the biggest fight with the best opponent. Like, that's what he should do, you know what I'm saying? I don't think I'm quite old enough for his like age bracket, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if I quite hit the age requirement to fight Jake, but like, God, I would take that fight in a heartbeat, brother. You know what I'm saying? That'd be an easy check.
MMA versus boxing there, yeah?
MMA versus boxing. And I mean, they can wrestle, right? Like, they both wrestled in high school.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what that looks like now, but you know.
So it's a good fight, you're saying. We got to get it booked. Let's do it.
Bilal Muhammad says Islam earns respect because he doesn't just talk. He dominates elite opponents and finishes the job inside the cage.
Now people know how good Islam is. People are respecting him the same way I feel like I'm not getting respected. And then now when he plays with him like that, beats him on the feet, and then finishes him on the ground, I think that now people are realizing, all right, well, Islam isn't all talk.
Like, When many fans believe Islam's relentless top control and elite positioning could leave Ian Garry with almost no room to fight back.
Jack didn't have any opportunities for that, and I don't think Ian will either. I think Islam's so good at winding up in either side control or half guard or a dominant position from the top, and he really doesn't lose his positioning. It's all about position over submission for him. Of course, he does look for his ground and pound, and he will hunt submissions if he feels the timing.
Islam calmly dismisses Ian Garry, saying the size difference and wrestling gap will let him finish the fight with ease.
This guy is so small. I'm gonna stop this guy. Like what I did couple minutes ago, I can do same things. Take him down and finish him there. Because I know this guy is so small. He's not my level.
One face-off changed everything. Islam didn't flinch, Ian didn't back down. And now the whole MMA world's asking who really won the mind game before UFC 330.
And I was saying to Khabib, I've been in the fight business since I was 20 years old. And all I ever hear is, this guy's gonna be a world champion. This guy's gonna do this. This guy's gonna do that. Everybody says the same thing, and almost nobody ever does or makes it. His father said, Khabib will go in and dominate and he'll have a run, and when he's done, and then Islam will come in behind him and do.
Ian Garry promises his speed, and precision will leave Islam swinging at air before ending the fight with a knockout.
Too fast, I'm too clinical, I'm too powerful, I'm too precise. He's going to be swinging at the thin air, he's not going to be able to grab a hold of me, and I'm just going to chin him and put him unconscious.
Luke Thomas says facing the pound-for-pound king on short notice is one of the toughest challenges any fighter can accept.
But I did not think ultimately the scoring necessarily was all that close. You have that. Now you're taking it on basically 12 days notice or less. You're going up a weight class against either he's the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world or he's #2 at worst. These are like real bad conditions under which to try to beat someone of that caliber. Forget even just the 64% stat of all UFC fights. In that particular climate, a top...
Dana White believes Islam's composure and dominance continue building his case as one of the greatest champions in UFC history.
The most exciting title fight you'll ever see, but let me tell you what, complete dominance, and it's depending on what we do next with him and what's going on, this guy's headed toward.
Chael Sonnen says Ian Garry used psychology to build Islam up first, then boldly promised to expose him under the brightest lights.
Ian first puts him over. Okay, builds him up, this is a champion, and talks about how great he is, and then Ian comes in and he built him. I watched Garry doing this. I was watching the psychology of Garry as he builds him and talks about this champion and talks about what a great run he's had. Just to chop him down, he says, I'm gonna melt him in front of your eyes. I will make him look amateur in front of your very eyes. He's gonna experience speed like he's never seen.
Ariel Helwani believes the true scale of UFC 330 excitement will become clear during the press conference and official weigh-ins.
Once we get to the presser, and then once we see what kind of crowd is at the weigh-in, then we can fully compare and contrast.
What do you imagine for the weigh-in? Because
if it's going to be like one of those, like the Aldo one where it's like a sea of humanity.
That's unfair. It's not almost unfair to compare it to that.
You don't think it happens anymore?
I think it will still be bigger than anything they do. Like, like any pay-per-view, anything like that. But that's a very unrealistic expectation to be like the biggest star at the height of...
Daniel Cormier discussed a recent stare-down. He stated it became more significant than a standard face-off. Cormier noted the moment's intensity captured millions of fans. He described it as one of the UFC's biggest media moments, with emotions running high. This exchange further fueled the showdown between Islam Makhachev and Ian Machado Garry.
It just happened between a whole bunch of Russian guys and a whole bunch of Irish guys in front of millions of people. So for me, I had to kind of separate the idea that I was kind of laughing to like trying to go like, guys, we are probably in front of the biggest viewership we've ever had.
Georges St-Pierre believes this fight comes down to where the action takes place. He says Ian Garry is a dangerous striker with real weapons on the feet, but Islam Makhachev gains a clear advantage once the fight reaches the ground. GSP also points out that Islam's complete skill set separates him from most welterweights because he can adapt everywhere. In his view, Islam's grappling gives him the biggest edge, making Garry's takedown defense the key factor on fight night.
Ian Garry, it's definitely a tough opponent, very good striker. But Islam once again, his goal gonna be to bring the fight to the ground, and I think if he's able to do that, he's gonna have an edge. If Garry is able to keep it on the feet, and gonna have an edge, so it's gonna be interesting.
Do you see Islam giving like a lot of problems to these welterweights? Like currently the top guys are Ian Garry, Michael Morales, Carlos Prates, all who are very dangerous in their own ways, but it seems like, skill for skill, Islam has the ground edge over all of them. It's just, can he continue to level up on these guys?
Yeah, I think Islam has the edge in terms of skills, because he's more well-rounded. He can do it all. And he, especially with his grappling, he's got an edge in that department.
Khabib believes stare downs and confidence mean very little until a fighter faces the very best in the world. Responding to Ian Garry's confidence, he says beating lower-level opponents is completely different from sharing the cage with an elite champion like Islam Makhachev.
Depends you fight with who. If you're gonna fight with Cowboy Cerrone, you're gonna look good. You're gonna be like lion. But if you're gonna fight like guys who on the top, who really best in the world, this fight gonna show your level.
Ian Garry insists he is prepared for every possible strategy Islam Makhachev could use inside the octagon. From takedowns and clinch exchanges to scrambles and striking, Garry says he has mentally rehearsed every scenario throughout training camp.
What could go wrong? What could he do right? Where could he try win the fight? How could he try win the fight? Is it going to be by taking me down and holding me down? Is it going to be by trying to cause chaos and make it a scramble and I have to be smart with my defense and move my feet and get out of the pocket? What are the ways that this person I'm fighting, I believe, could he try to take advantage of to win this fight? Once he does that, I train for all those. So that in the fight, I know mentally I've done it. And the closer to the fight, every week that gets closer, it's more.
Yeah. Like whatever he was before, it's like you got to forget that when you fight him. You're fighting this do or die assassin. Yeah. He's just an assassin. And something shifted and he became the best lightweight in the world. It's the weirdest thing, man.
It's got to be just mental. I mean,
he said that it was the birth of his daughter.
That can do it.
That it just was, he was just so committed and driven now.
Yeah.
And I mean, but like the way he fights too, man, he's so exciting. That he just goes right into the fire, man. Yeah. It's not, there's no like, let's play it safe. It's like, come on. It was also his like technique. His technique is so clean.
Sean Strickland blames video games for making people more aggressive.
And I don't want to be the guy like video games caused it. But when video games intertwined with the military, it created a very different breed of people, right? So like you're older than me, so you probably seen it, but you didn't experience it. Like video games intertwined with the military, and you had like Call of Duty, where like all day long you're a little kid and you're just shooting people. Grand Theft Auto, and everyone's like, oh, like you can't blame video games. Like, how do you think it is when little kids now are spending 5 hours of their day shooting people in the head, playing Grand Theft Auto, being there's been like a psyop to slowly people up and desensitize people. Like Americans are so corrupt and morally bankrupt now. It's like, I don't even know how you...
Islam Makhachev's coach Javier Mendez believes Islam can beat Ian Garry without relying on his wrestling.
Remember, I've been with them for 12 years or plus, 12 years plus, so there's a lot of work that's been done with him and I and other coaches, and he's dialed in. He's dialed in as a striker, and people sleep on his striking and think that he has to take Ian down. He doesn't have to take him down. No. Is it the better choice? Probably, because we know we're the better grappler for sure, but do we have to take him down? I'm saying no, we don't have to take him down. Is it the better option? Probably. But let's see how Ian is able to adapt to what we're gonna do.
Yeah. Kuzman Nurmagomedov could be heading to the UFC after becoming one of the biggest free agents in MMA. Usman is coming off a win over Archie Colgan at PFL New York, where he successfully defended the PFL lightweight title. Usman's manager Ali Abdelaziz says he wants to see him face Ilia Topuria in the UFC. He also believes Arman Tsarukyan is the only fighter who can truly give Usman a competitive fight.
I'm gonna tell you something. The fight I want, if he go to the UFC, I want Ilia Topuria, first fight. First fight. Woo! Why not? Listen, he ran out of gas. He talk a lot of things. He wrote a lot of checks, couldn't cash. Guess what? I'm bringing the whole fire. And if these people want this fight to happen, we can make it happen. But I'm gonna tell you something. Kamaru Usman, talk about tough fight. Will knock out Dan Hooker. He will submit Dan Hooker. I love Paddy Pimblett. I think he's a great guy.
Right.
Usman will stop him in under 2 rounds. I think he will make Elia quit. He will hit kick him, knock him out flat. The only fight I can see competitive, him and Arman. Charles Oliveira, he would make him quit. He will make him quit. What Charles Oliveira can do to him. Strike with him, good luck with that. Take him down, good luck with that. And he will absolutely demolish Max Holloway. Demolish Max Holloway. Because he can take him. Let me tell you why.
I love it, Ali. I love it.
Let me tell you why. I love Max. I respect Max. Max can wrestle for and he can't grapple for Usman can grapple or can wrestle. Guess what? Max don't have he have great striking, but no, he cannot mix it up like Usman. The only a real competitor with Usman is Arman Tsarukyan. I would say that.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you never miss the latest MMA news. And I'll see you in the next video.